Welcome to Hangar 207 in the garage, Baja edition. Well, we brought the Baja in the garage, and I did a few things to it because I'm trying to figure out what plan to go to next. I took the hood off the front, took the gas tank out. I want to inspect the gas tank, see if it was good. It is. And then I can inspect the steering, front mounts, a few odds and ends is up here to find out what needs to be repaired. Because I'm going to drive this on the street. And then there was an air tank in the back there, for the air suspension, which I'll go over that in a minute. And then I took out a seat so I could get back there, because there was no way really getting back there. And then I looked at the seat mounts, and those aren't very good seat mounts. I can see what they did. They got this part here, so you could fold the seat forward to get into the back. But seat mount needs to be a lot stronger than that. That's not going to work. So I'll do something with that. There's a hole in the floor over there. So I'm going over it to come up with a plan of what to do next. Do I do body work, fix up the body, or do I want to get it mechanical and running first? Which I think I decided to get it mechanically fixed and running. Here's the challenges I'm up against. The guy put these airbags in here as a suspension. A VW Bug, there's a torsion spring that's in here, or bar that's in here. It's a bar that twists. That's actually suspension for it. That's actually what it's on now because the airbags are, so it's on its natural system. A shock is here that goes from here down to this arm. And that shock prevents you from bouncing forever. Well, he put these airbags on. It was a good idea, just bad method. He put these airbags on so he could raise the back end, lower it, depends what kind of train he's going to go on. And then, but he put them where the shocks go. And with the airbags on this, you hit one bump, the back of this thing can bounce, it can flip over, all kinds of problems. So he had a good idea, just really bad method. So, and he cut off where the mounts for the shocks go, off to the frame and then off the axle arm, which is right there. So, what I have to do is I have to replace that arm. It's either weld tabs back on it for shocks or just replace the arm. Well, what I did was this whole section here where that bar is right there and over there, from there back I bought another cut of an old VW Bug that was cut off. Has a transmission, has the axles that's supposed to be in there, the shock towers and everything there, so I could get rid of this stuff. I have a transmission, axles back on. I bought disc brakes. I have disc brakes in the back and in the front. I haven't bought the ones for the front yet, but I'm going to have disc brakes all around. And I'm just going to go ahead and replace all this stuff first. So what we're going to do is we're going to go pull that, get that frame in here in the garage, and we're going to pull it apart. But I'm not going to do it right now because I have to go to the other garage, get it, bring it over, and it's nasty outside. I don't want to be outside. But that's where we're at right now. So we're going to take a short break and be back. Now the video I did earlier didn't come out right, so I'm showing this one after the fact. I already pulled this axle out. Here's the axle. There's where it goes on that end. It goes on this end. You'll see that shortly after this little segment here. But this here is the back half of a VW Bug. Okay, now what I did was I bought this because I needed this on the Baja. The guy cut off here, so this ain't there that holds the shock tower, the bump stops, and all that. None of that's there. Okay, so I bought this so I could put this on the Buggy. Also, the shock mount down there on the swing arm here, he cut that off. So I bought this because it had swing arms, had transmission I need, 2 swing arms, but I have to take all this here apart, which I don't even have the tool for it. It takes a special tool. But these brakes I won't be using. They're tight. They're really tight in there. And I had a heck of a time getting that axle out because I had put a big wrench on there just to spin it. You'll see that hip coming. But that's what this is. This is the back half of the suspension of a VW Bug. There's really not much to it, and it's actually quite simple. There's a bar in here, goes all the way through, and it twists. It's solid in here, and then this swing arm passes to this end. So it twists, and that's what your suspension is, the VW Bug. Pretty simple. Transaxle, where the axle comes out of here, and it's the transmission. And I can pull it out, clean it up, change that seal so it don't leak in the front. But I'm in the process pulling it apart. Here, like I said, there's the axle where I pulled it out. It was from here over to there. And showing you that. Now it's cold out here. It's like 16 degrees outside, so I had to run the heater while I was working on it. So you're not going to hear me talking or anything. So I'm going to do the wonderful talk over, and that starts next. The furnace, or it's cold out there, so I had to kick on the heater. Right there, that is carburetor cleaner. Trying to clean out all the gunk that's inside those bolts. Those bolts are like a star head. But now what I'm doing, I'm not tightening up or loosening that, but I'm turning the shaft using the crescent wrench. The brakes are tight in there from sitting outside the junkyard, so they're really hard to turn. As time goes on, I got a little smarter and figured a better way to do that. So now I'm doing some more carb cleaner to clean out the rest of the crap that's inside there. I cut through a lot of this stuff as we go on, but at the beginning I let it play a little bit, so it's a little long and boring, but not bad. Carburetor cleaner, and then I do some penetrating oil. That should be next. PB Blaster, wonderful stuff. That stuff is great. I hope whoever invented that's wealthy. Alright, there's the star tools. Hey Paul, bring that tool up here so we can see it. Show it to the camera. Come on. There you go. See all the points? Thanks, Paul. Now, we pounded it in there to get it in there good seat because we don't want to strip the bolts off. And probably wondering why I'm using such a long extension. And the theory is the extension twists. You put torque on it and it twists. It puts an extra load onto the nut to help you break it loose when you're trying to break something loose. That one popped loose pretty good. That one did a pretty decent job coming loose. Then I had to turn it to get to the rest of them. Like I said, this is before I got smart, figured out a better way of doing it. Yeah, swearing didn't seem to help. I tried, but it didn't work. See, that one popped loose pretty good. Another one. This one here, not so good. I didn't break nothing. I thought I did. There was a little swearing, but it didn't break. It just slipped out, but it stripped out the very end of it. I didn't have it in very far. So I got a scriber, started cleaning out all the points, or clean out all the inside of it, just get all the crap out of it. Get the shadows, you can't see it. Then I hammered it in good. You hear the difference in the sound when it seats itself at the bottom. Then I was able to break it loose. Problem was, that was stubborn. Problem was, I couldn't get it out of the bolt, so I had to screw the whole thing out, take it to the vise, and pop, separate it that way. But I didn't show it on the camera on that. I think I was too frustrated because I just started and already screwed up one of the bolts. That bolt can't be reused again. I'm not putting it back in. I got to replace. I'll probably replace all the bolts. Depends on what they cost. Most of the stuff for the VW Bug is affordable. I mean, they're cheap. It's not like there's a whole lot of. I mean, literally, this transmission itself is $100 at junkyard. These are probably, the axles are probably $20 by themselves, so $120, and then there's probably $20 for the swing axle. So there's probably from a junkyard, it's probably $250 for the stuff here that I got all for $150. There, I got the longer arm for the. To turn the shaft over, I got a big socket and a ratchet, big long ratchet, and then I use the impact The impact wasn't strong enough to break those loose, but instead of just sitting there with the wrench and pull each one out, grab the impact. The thing about that socket, that special tool there, is it just does not like to let the bolts go. Once you get it in there, you kind of got to work at it. So spinning them out, pulling the bolts out. At this point in time, I cut it out, but it's Christmas. Oh, yeah, one little smack with a hammer got it loose. Well, I thought I was going to have to beat and pound. That popped loose. But that pause there was, I cut it out, but it was Christmas, and the guy, my buddy was sending me a Merry Christmas. So, now to the inside, on the other side, I went ahead and cleaned it out with the little scriber. Now I couldn't use as long as a extension because it's lower in the transmissions in a way. So I had to do more effort to get these side loose. So the longer extension does make a difference on breaking bolts like that loose. And I was impressed. I kind of cut this out, so I'm just going from bolt to bolt to bolt. So you don't need to see it over and over again. I probably won't even video taking the other axle out of the other side because it's pretty much going to be the same. This is although I got smarter as you go along. This is the first time I've ever done this. I've never done any of this. This is literally the first time I've taken this apart. I mean, once you learn how something works, you usually can work on it. But as I showed earlier, just to get the swing arm out, it takes a special big Allen wrench that I don't have. That I'm going to have to see if I can get that tool. So back to Harbor Freight. I like Harbor Freight. I mean, some of the tools are junk and cheap, but there's a lot of them that are good. It's something you don't use very often. Why spend $50 on a tool you're only going to use once or twice? But almost got them out. And then I get up and shut the heater off, and then you can hear me after that, so we can stop the voiceover. Voiceover is kind of difficult because you really don't know what to say. But I think this is where I do it, so that's the end of the voiceover. Hey, shut that off. Getting a little warm in here. There she is. One axle out. Well, I took the other shaft out, but I did that off camera. It was basically the same as the right side, the left side the same. I'll do the same thing on the swing arm. I'm just going to video the one side and then the other side do off camera. The swing arm, these bolts here. I got to take these bolts here out. And then I got to take this right there out, which is an Allen head bolt. And then, of course, this. I'm going to break that loose and then go from there. Get a ratchet in there to fit. Because of the angle here, I don't think my ratchet will fit in there. So I got to do it kind of the hard way, inching it out. Not the heater. Just gonna have to do a voiceover. invested a bigger impact gun. Woo. That'll be it for this episode. I'm going to take the other swing arm off camera. No reason to see it again twice. I mean, I'll film it just in case something happens in it. I can be thrown there, but I don't foresee that happening. And then the next episode, I'm going to strip the swing arm down, pull the brakes off, pull the bearings out, get the arm ready to be installed, clean that pant, and then take the swing arms off the buggy. So with that, till episode 3, thanks for watching. Hangar 207 in the garage, Baja Buggy.